Welcome to the Church of Rocky Horror. The Church of Sexual Liberation.
Hetero, bi, tri, trans, cross, you name it, we got it, right? Yes, we are covered.
Before we start, we've already started, so this is bullshit. When the questions start happening, we are going to vote for the best question of the afternoon.
Yeah.
And the one who gives the best question will get a signed Rocky Horror poster.
And they get to sleep with Barry Bostwick.
Yes. Thank you, Barry.
So, Rocky Horror came out in 1975. Did you think we'd be talking about Rocky Horror almost 50 years later?
Oh, treasure. Well, remember, because I was in the original show, which had its 50th birthday last year, it came out in 1973.
There was one story that you know what, the nice lady who's doing the signing over here, can I look at me for 1 second? Yeah. Once I was doing one of these things, and I had to, and the audience called me the name that I had called in the movie. Yeah. Now, what is the sign for asshole? Everyone's a little different. Sometimes they be going into something. Yeah, good. Thank you. Okay, we're being very specific. Thank you. Don't tell your mother.
Well, let's throw this out to some of the
Did
people.
you see my post on Instagram? Excellent, fabulous magenta there. She's today, she's something else. I can see you're still representing.
Let's throw this out to the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little anxious right now because I'm super struck by the two of you guys.
And also keep in mind, there is a prize.
Yeah. No pressure.
So don't fuck it up, okay?
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering, with both of you, what are your favorite of the call-outs that you've heard over the years?
What's yours? I haven't asked you that. You don't like
one that I still eat, when the call-outs began, there were far fewer of them, and they were far wittier.
Yeah.
Now there seems to be a monologue going on the entire time.
Yeah.
There's no break at all.
Yeah.
It was much funnier when it was just sudden, now and then. And one of the early ones was in the opening scene with you and Susan under she's holding a newspaper over her head, and someone called out, "Buy an umbrella, you cheap bitch." That in fact was, because I do a one-woman show now called All's Nell, Den's Nell, and a lot of it is about how Rocky Horror came to be. And so I researched, every detail, and that in fact is the first call out.
Yeah,
There was a guy.
In Brooklyn, I think, you're a teacher.
Well, no, but it was at the
it was at the theater,
in the New York Theater, on 8th Street.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He was stoned at the time.
I drove all the way down here. I'm using my vacation time.
Oh, thank you.
Are you begging us for money?
No.
I drove all the way down.
I drove down here from Minneapolis. I'm a huge fan. My living room, when you walk in, it looks like a museum because I collect a lot of Rocky Horror memorabilia.
Have you bought my underwear yet?
I have not bought your underwear.
I'll have to do
I
my
would love
fair.
to.
You know what, why don't you go to his table and he will give you a signed pair of them. Come on, he's driven all the way from Indiana.
What?
Yeah.
I have to drive home today.
For yourself. You give her your underwear.
I'm leaving.
I will.
Back to Indianapolis as soon as I leave here because my daughter's bugging me about my animals. They're getting on her nerves.
Okay.
So I will be driving back to Indianapolis after this. However, you two are so such underrated actors.
Oh, that's very sweet.
You were
of you.
both phenomenal, and I don't think there's enough words to express how wonderful you two are. And
You almost got the poster on that.
yeah, you are both very underrated, such underrated. And everybody that I had a tattoo put on my arm on purpose because I want people to ask me about the show. Like, what's this dance move on your hand? And you know, the young kids, they don't know. They're like, is that some new dance move? And I had to explain to them what the Time Warp is. And anyway, so my question is, when you both were young, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you ever see this as your future? Like, did you want to be teachers or doctors?
Well, I'm still young.
You are still very young. When you were in grade school, primary school.
No, I don't know
Don't
what.
get your daughter to lie. Let her lie on those chairs so she can lie down,
No.
darling. She's a tired pet.
I
Darling,
didn't know
just
there was
lie
a
down.
child in here. I wouldn't have used all that hard language. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Mom.
It's been a big, long day.
What was the question? Oh,
What did you want to do when you were in like grade school? Did you
Oh.
see this as your future?
I wanted to be an artist, I think. I was sort of studying art and being a sculptor, and right now I'm a potter as an avocation. I have a studio in mid-state Florida, you know, with all my kilns and everything. And a couple of weeks ago we had a show of my stuff as part of a tour in Lake County. I live in Mount Dora, which is just north of Orlando. And so I think I've always wanted to do that. I went from being sculpting to being a potter, and being incredibly lucky to, when I went to school in the 60s, if you went to an acting school, they always said, well, you have to know how to act, sing, and dance, or you're never going to get a job. So I really focused as much as I could on those three things, you know. And the actors that I knew at the time who could just act and couldn't do anything else became movie stars. But that's beside the point. So that's, you know, it's a natural progression if you just want to be an artist of any kind, you know. And then acting happened because that's where all the pretty girls were.
That's why people are bass players, they say.
Yeah.
Rather than whatever the other guitar is. What is the other guitar? Treble? No.
What is your favorite scene in Rocky Horror?
The favorite scene?
Yeah.
It's a very hard question.
I think the floor show, don't you think? Only because it was so dangerous.
Yeah, it was very hard to. I'm not complaining, but we were sopping wet, and we were in, you know, stiletto heels this high, and, you know, tight corsets and whatever. It was, and having to do that dance. We are wild and untamed things, it is true, but it was hard to do that.
Well, it was on a wet stage.
Yeah,
And
it was very slippery,
yeah.
and you had to, it was all in the core, you know, to keep your balance.
Yeah.
And
I loved your core.
thank you, darling.
I think I might have kissed your core in the pool.
In the pool, I think
Yeah.
you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That core is gone.
Was that pool? Somebody asked me. Was that pool heated?
It was. It was heated.
It was heated.
It was because it was November. It was very cold.
Yeah.
And if that hadn't been heated, we would have been freezing. So they did their best, but we were still cold.
Yeah.
It's England. They don't, you know. I can't even begin to tell you how humble that studio was. There was nowhere for us to sit. There was, forget, you know, people looking after you, bringing you coffee and everything. It was a joke. The film was shot in less than 6 weeks. It was like 5.5 weeks. And also, when we would, so each take was like, you know, you probably won't get a second take, so you better get it right.
Yeah.
There was that. And of course, the Time Warp is also one of my favorite scenes.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
Are you all excited to be at Pensacon?
Yes. Pensacon, I'm mad for Pensacola and crazy about Pensacola Beach where I'm staying overlooking the water, and it's just been great. And everyone is so friendly here. It's the good life. Now we better move on to the next question over here.
So how do you define asshole? That same thing. Okay. All right. There's consistency.
But keep pushing. The next one will be back in a minute. The one that is not.
Yeah, you're right. We should get to questions because
Yeah.
I'm just bullshit.
So apologies for the boring question, but since most of the cast came from the London theater, was it easier to feel like outsiders when you were introduced as Brad and Janet?
Was it? Yeah. They totally ignored us. You know, we didn't have time to become friends. I think you and I became friends 20 years later or something. Right? I have a picture with you leering at me on the set.
Wait there, there's... you know, yes, Peter Hinwood felt very alienated. I found that out.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a terrible thing that I do think it was harder for us to bond with, because it was such a quick... we did rehearse briefly, I don't even remember. Pat would remember. But, and the reason Pat and I were not given cars, instead of being given cars to the studio, which was an hour's drive out of London in 1974, we were given the timetable of trains and buses that began at 5 a.m. And so Pat said, no car, no show. She wasn't going to do it. So they had us share Susan's car. So we got, with an hour each day in each direction. So we got to know Susan, but not you so much.
No.
But yes, I will answer for it was definitely because we were all so familiar with our roles, and we never worked with the narrator.
No.
Charles Gray.
Never.
All his stuff was separate. I'm told he was quite intoxicated.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, now I got my research, and when he had to get up on the table and do the time warp, it was touch and go. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
On behalf of Pensacola and Pensacon, I would like to thank you all for being here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm fangirling it as well. I grew up watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, your parents have done a fantastic job, and I'm sure you've passed it on.
I'm trying.
Yes,
I'm trying very hard.
By the way, I recommend around 6 months. It's the first age that you start showing children. And I mean that.
That's about the time the wrinkles form, right?
Yeah.
My question is that, as you had mentioned, 50 years ago was a lot different of a time than it is now. Was there ever any apprehension as to what the project was that you guys were doing? Was there ever anything that...
Not at all.
No.
You see, it was in the early 70s in London. It was just, we were all... personally, I come from a very liberal family, so none of us, anyone involved with the original show, was the slightest bit shocked about anything except for Julie Covington, who was the original Janet, when, at the request of Jim Sharman, the director, as I've told you, Richard O'Brien came back the next day with Janet's song and played it to us, touch it, touch it, touch it, touch me, I want to be dirty. And of course we all absolutely adored it, except Julie, who refused to sing it. She said, I'm not going to sing that song. Can you believe that? You know that Julie sang the original Don't Cry For Me, Argentina, which went to #1. She's got an incredible voice. She was offered the job to star in the musical Evita. She turned it down. Guess what director was offered the job to direct Evita, and he turned it down? Jim Sharman. Just throw that in. Anyway, but she was shocked by that, but I think we all thought that was hilarious. I mean, I don't think it, I know we all thought that was hilarious.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Have a good day.
I mean, it was the cusp of punks. It was all, that was what was going on there then.
Work with both Anthony Stewart Head and Tim Curry, correct?
Who?
Anthony Stewart Head as
Anthony Stewart?
Anthony Stewart Head.
No, I don't know that person.
He was also Frankenfurter in the English stage production.
Right. No, the person, I left the show at the same time as Tim, but I rehearsed in the new person who was Philip Sayer. So he must have taken over after Philip.
I was going to ask, like, what was the difference with working between the two, but
I can't answer that, I'm afraid.
That's
You're definitely not getting a poster.
that's I was also going to ask, like, what your favorite thing, like, interactions on the set were.
Sexy.
Staying warm. That was the interaction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, it was difficult.
It was difficult, yeah, but you can see by the photos, and also because time was of the essence, there's a lot of photos of us all lying fast asleep around the set, on the throne, whatever, you know, grabbing a moment where you can.
Yeah.
Okay, over to you, darling. I think that's enough.
Yeah. No, I'm not done
Do you want to,
yet.
you
Do I have something to
elaborate,
say?
darling.
I just what are those guys in the background? What's they called?
The Transylvania.
Transylvanians. Yeah, they were an interesting bunch of people.
They were.
They really were. I mean, some of them were stars in their own right, from London stage and screen, and they apparently were stoned most of the time, right?
Yeah, I think I supplied that.
Did you really? Oh my God! Did you really?
No, but I knew the person. I knew the origin of the situation. It was just, you know, a few puffs in a
Sure.
Very, very naive.
But they had to sit around and stick
Yeah, they had
around.
to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There were a lot of bombs going off in London. Something like 11 bombs went off in London, the IRA at that time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Just to set the scene.
Yeah.
Which I did in my show, because it's incredible. I mean, like Euston Station.
Yeah.
But at that big, so I was 19. You could just, well, when we were doing the show, you just didn't really notice that.
Oh.
You did, but you weren't. I'd be much more anxious about it now.
I just remember during the first scene, the wedding scene, when they were driving off in the car. I remember one of the background people started yelling out, "Hit the kid! Hit the kid!" And I think, nah, they're stoned. They're really stoned now.
Oh my God!
Have you heard that story?
No.
Oh, it's true. It's one of the.
I can add that to the show. Thank you.
Yeah, hit the kid! Hit the kid!
Oh my God! I didn't remember a kid in it.
So anyway, I'm sorry, but this is going to have to be the last question.
Oh no, no. Ready, set, go. We're going to give really quick answers. Go.
Okay, my question was how much did you have involvement of the development of Columbia of the characters?
Total. And you? That's my answer, because it was just basically an extension of me, in case you didn't know.
I just played my cousin. Yes.
And since we're in a church, do only assholes write on church doors?
Yes. Good enough. No, yeah.
I know we talked about Brad obviously missing out on the song from the live action to the movie adaptation. Is there anything else, or is there anything about the live action, about the live stage play, that you wish had been in the movie, or like different character interactions, or different anything at all, any scenes or anything at all that didn't make it into the movie?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah, you weren't in the.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm glad that he's not
I'm
being
sure you're sad that Brad's song wasn't in there, but that's about.
No, because of course there's a lot more in the film, so we were adding, we didn't do any subtracting except for that song, sadly.
Yeah. Wise choice.
It's a good song.
Thank you.
Bad.
Yes.
Hi, I grew up going to pantos with all the audience interaction, and Rocky
It's
Horror.
called sex.
Rocky Horror is so special for so many reasons, but that seems to be one of the few ones that's translated audience interaction with it. What do you think the secret is that was able to do it so many others haven't? Just sex?
You answer that. Good question. Why?
Oh, I see. I don't know. Here, take this poster right now.